Vancouver voters approve an historic bond measure. It will reshape schools across the district. Which schools will see changes first, and what do students have to say about it? And there it goes. Engineers in the making get a close-up look at their future jobs. A special trip that connects what they're learning in class with what happens in the real world. Plus, Denny's has its famous Grand Slam, but here in Vancouver, it's green eggs and ham. Don't be fooled by how the food looks. In this event, the beauty's in the books. Hello, and welcome to Inside Vancouver Public Schools. I'm Carl Click. Vancouver voters have said yes to first-rate schools. You've passed an historic bond measure. The district, the staff, and of course, all of our students are grateful to voters for recognizing the importance of modern school facilities. Let's take a look at the numbers. The bond measure earned a whopping 69.82% yes votes and 30.18% against it. To pass, the bond had to win a supermajority of 60% and a minimum vote total of 27,000, and it cleared both of those hurdles. The last bond measure the district passed was in 2001. That was for $87.7 million, and it passed with 63.3% majority. So this measure was even more popular than the district could have hoped for. A quick reminder of what the $458 million bond will do. First, it will trigger $50 million or so in matching funds from the state, and VPS has already earned a $43 million grant to reduce class sizes. Together, that money will build 3 new school facilities, replace several outdated schools, and modernize every other school in the district. Let's take a look at the construction schedule now. The first schools to be replaced are Marshall Elementary and McLaughlin Middle School. Vancouver iTech Preparatory, that is currently split among 2 temporary campuses. It will get a permanent home. Other schools will be replaced over the next 6 years. There are also ongoing projects that will happen at every other school in the district throughout the 6 years. Those projects will be organized to best maximize bond money to give schools the most bang for their buck. Of course, the biggest winners in this bond election, the students. They're going to be learning in modern schools now. Over at TRUMAN Elementary School, students reflected on what the bond means to them. These 5th graders were assigned a research project on the bond measure and had to present their findings to their classmates. It was a fun, real-world project for the students who used modern technology like iPads and presentation software to research and then demonstrate their work. With 7 years of school left, it's a topic that affects them personally.
I would be excited because a lot of the schools I'm probably going to go to will get upgraded, and Truman is my elementary school, and so I would be very excited.
I can know that this school is going to get a lot more help, like it's going to be a lot better.
It's important to our whole community in Vancouver, and it will help us be happier and stuff.
These 5th graders will be in middle school when they start to see the improvements, and they told us they're looking forward to seeing how their schools change. To see a lot more about the bond, including when your neighborhood school will see improvements, check out the district's website. Go to vansd.org/reschools. VPS takes seriously its duty to be accountable to taxpayers, and the latest updates on how this bond money is being spent will be available online and right here on this show. We have some news that will no doubt be a relief to students, parents, and teachers. The state of Washington has granted Vancouver Public Schools' request to waive days of school canceled by our snowy winter weather. We had a total of 8 snow days this winter, which is more than anyone can remember having. Students are required by law to attend a minimum number of days and hours each year. Vancouver rescheduled 4 of the 8 days, and the state has now allowed the district to cancel the other 4 altogether. However, the district schedule far exceeds the minimum, So even without these days, students will be above the state requirement. One of the added days has already passed. The others are from June 19th through the 21st. Graduation dates will not be affected. A number of Vancouver athletes ended their winter sports season as state champions. Let's take a look. First up, boys swimming, where Columbia River had a huge weekend. Josh Bottleberg, seen here, won individual titles in the 200-meter freestyle and the 100-meter breaststroke, setting personal and meet records in the process. He was also part of the River 200 freestyle relay team, seen here, that won a state title. Bottleberg was named Swimmer of the Meet by the state's coaches. His teammate, Rob Mead, also went home as state champion, winning the title in the 100-meter freestyle, and he was runner-up in the 100-meter backstroke. Let's move on to gymnastics, where Columbia River's Sarah Ellis won the state title on the balance beam. She also finished 7th in the vault. And finally, girls wrestling, where Skyview High School's Hikaru Abe is a champion in the 105-pound weight class. It was a dominant performance from Abe, who in the second round needed only 22 seconds to pin her opponent. Congrats to all of these outstanding student athletes. Time now for our We Learn story. A look at how technology is playing a role in teaching and learning in Vancouver Public Schools. In December and January, students across Vancouver took part in a national event called the Hour of Code. Students like these at Marshall Elementary learn the basics of computer coding while playing a fun game. The idea is to introduce kids to coding language at a young age to encourage them to explore it as they get older. The event was so popular, district staff expanded it further with a new round of exploration called Hour of Creation. Nick Vole checked in to see what it's all about.
Most of us experience technology as consumers. We watch TV, surf the web, or play video games. But at Salmon Creek, these excited 5th graders are about to take the next step, from consumers to creators.
The creation piece brings that to a whole different level. It's something that they're going to be using now through middle school, through high school, and beyond.
That's Erica Anderson, an instructional technology facilitator. She helped organize this special lesson, the Hour of Creation, which she and her fellow ITFs are presenting to students all over the district.
It's really important that we learn how to use technology to make things, because we could do huge things with technology.
Students rotate between 3 stations where they learn what makes the entertainment they consume actually work. At one station, they learn about animation and make their own stop-motion video clip. Over at the robotics station, students program these special little robots to follow their commands.
You can move it around with this and do tricks with this. Just basically really cool.
At the next station, students channel their inner meteorologist.
Mrs. Anderson, come look at this. Ta-da! Looks like you're...
They learn how software separates the person from the green screen and add their own picture to replace the background.
I'm green. I'm green.
They're doing all of the work. They're using all of these skills. They're being creative. They're thinking critically. They're working together. But they're having so much fun at the same time that they don't even realize that they're learning, and they're learning all along the way.
Yeah, this is very cool because you can actually get up, walk around instead of just sitting in your seat.
Fun is a great key in teaching new things, especially in technology, because nowadays technology is everywhere. So if you don't know how to code something, it's most likely that you won't know how to use a certain thing that you might have to use.
Lessons like the Hour of Creation serve as simple but powerful introductions to the kinds of thinking, learning, and creating ahead of these bright young minds.
So it's helping to get them to that future ready point so that they're more marketable in the workplace.
What are you learning while you're doing this stuff?
That school's going to be amazing.
Vancouver iTech Preparatory is a STEM magnet school. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. The school uses hands-on projects to teach students. In a recent special field trip, students headed down to Portland to get a real-world engineering experience. Nick Vole tagged along.
A busload of students from Vancouver iTech Preparatory pulls up to Cummins Northwest on Swan Island in Portland. They're here to learn from these professionals who are just as excited to meet them. After a quick greeting, students split into groups and begin a rotation.
At each station, students are learning about the individual components that make up an engine, the complicated machines that run our buses, trucks, and generators.
My favorite thing is when we did the electricity thing.
A Cummins Power Gen technician showed them
how we use electricity to operate things in their cars and how we can control with only one power source so many different things.
Students learn about what's happening inside the engine block.
I did not know the 4 strokes of an engine, the intake, and then the ignition and the exhale and all that.
One popular station focused on what's actually happening inside the pistons.
It was like a huge explosion.
When the lights go down, a Cummins technician sparks a contained blast. There it goes! Then, students headed out to the shop to see the finished product, a generator that can be remotely controlled. It was a powerful demonstration of how modern computer technology can be combined with traditional combustion engines.
It's more than just being dirty and working on engines. It's a lot of really cool stuff.
Kids are able to see hands-on what makes those big semis move, and they're also able to gain a better understanding of the engineering principles that go into electronics.
I feel like every once in a while a hands-on experience is very good for education and very instructive in teaching a topic.
The engines are actually on a much bigger scale than the models show. And that actually gave me a concept of how big these things actually are and the intricacy that has to go into creating them.
The other lesson kids learned? What a career in technology and engineering looks like.
I love what I do, and if I can get other kids to be excited about it too, especially the females, I mean, it's great to be able to open up an entire new world of possibilities to these children.
Thank you, Nick. The day before the students headed to Cummins, they hosted a Cummins employee who gave a lesson on how engines work to prepare them for that field trip. This event was part of the district's Career and Technical Education program, which works to partner with industry to give kids real-world experiences. To learn more about these programs, head to our web address on your screen, vansd.org/choices. 2 Fort Vancouver High School students get the opportunity of their young lives. They testified before lawmakers in Olympia. Maria Hernandez and Luna Garcia appeared before the House Higher Education Committee. They argued in favor of House Bill 1512, which proposes an expansion of eligibility for the college-bound scholarship. That helps students from low-income families. Maria and Luna supported the argument of Renton Area Representative Steve Bergquist. He's asking lawmakers to expand the eligibility window so that more students can qualify. The bill is still working its way through the legislature. Congrats to Maria and Luna for their well-spoken advocacy for students. A school-wide effort at Jason Lee Middle School gets kids reading and thinking about the concept of identity. A Jason Lee teacher, Cheryl Miller, won a grant to buy a copy of the book Wonder for every student in the school. It's about a middle school boy who looks different than everybody else and how his classmates treat him. Students reflected on the messages of that book and how it applies to their lives. Jason Lee's student news team produced a story on that experience, complete with student reactions. You can see that story on the Student Report, a show that airs right here on TV, etc., Comcast Channel 328. Go to esd112.org/TVETC to get that broadcast schedule. For the 22nd year, first graders and their families celebrate reading with a big plate of green eggs and ham. FYI, I'll be rhyming, but not to be obtuse. It's because the story is about Dr. Seuss. Green eggs and ham, to be more precise, and a free breakfast for families. Isn't that nice? At Walnut Grove and other schools in town, Beach's Restaurant serve food for folks to chow down. Parents and kids appreciate it a bunch.
Really fun because finally my mom can come to school with me at lunch.
As tasty as those green eggs undoubtedly are, it's reading, not food, that shines as the star. Books shape kids' brains as sharp as a knife.
And if they can read, it just opens the doors to so many opportunities for them in life.
Christine Jones knows all about that. Her own young reader, her daughter, played the Cat in the Hat. This annual event is a worthwhile endeavor.
The Dr. Seuss is a fun day ever.
Each first grader gets a book of their own, so a love of reading can begin to be grown. We hope that book lover never goes away, and kids will read books each and every day. Thanks to Beach's Restaurant for providing all the food. It was swell. And also Riverview Community Bank for all their help as well. Fort Vancouver High School alumni step up to help the current generation of students. The Trappers for Trappers organization collected $2,700 in donations from its members, all of whom went to Fort. The money will be split among several grant proposals put forth by staff members to benefit the kids. The grants will pay for things like field trips, support for student groups, and various efforts to build school culture. Thanks to all the caring Trapper alums who donated. Over at Franklin Elementary, the work to maintain a positive school culture never ends, and it starts simply with kindness. As Amanda Richter reports, Franklin dedicated an entire week to just being nice to one another.
Kindness is an intangible thing, but we all recognize it when we see it.
Kindness is something that you volunteer. You don't do it to get rewards. You do it to help out and make other people feel good.
It's pretty easy to spot at Franklin Elementary School during its Week of Kindness. Students and staff participate in a variety of activities and small gestures.
It seems like they really are loving it.
All week, students have been writing nice things about each other and staff members, and then delivering their messages.
It's been really awesome to see how excited the kids are to go bring their card to the secretary in the office or the principal or the nurse. So that's been really cool.
When I stopped by, 5th grade students showed kindness by reading to younger students and modeling positive behavior. These are just two of several planned activities happening at Franklin, the goal of which are to inspire spontaneous and ongoing acts of kindness.
Because it's really easy to say mean things and it's harder to say kind things, so we've been really practicing that.
I just try to randomly show kindness, like I've gave cards, I've done deeds, just trying to show a random act of kindness.
The event is causing kids to reflect on how they feel when someone is kind to them.
It changes my day. It makes my whole life better.
And how they feel when they pass kindness along to someone else.
It makes me feel good because instead of being negative, I'm being positive, and it gives them a positive effect and makes their day better.
In a world that can sometimes feel divided and angry, a small moment of kindness can go a long way. And the inside of a child can serve as a reminder to us all.
I think it's important to be kind because if we were all not kind, then it would be a really sad world and not as fun as it is now.
Inside Vancouver Public Schools, I'm Amanda Richter.
Thank you, Amanda. One of Vancouver Public Schools' core priorities is its Safe and Supportive Schools initiative. It encourages positive behavior as a means to reduce bullying and other negative actions by students. Every school implements elements of that program. We're out of time. Thank you for watching Inside Vancouver Public Schools. I'm Carl Cook.